Hi everyone and welcome back. I'm Maurice. This is my fourth video in a series for visual artists and musicians about NFT. If you're concerned about the future of NFT, your best bet, pardon the pun, is to take a long view and relax a bit. NFT isn't going anywhere. It's reinventing itself in real time. I wrote a popular slogan a few months ago. I said, NFT is fire, but it ain't gonna light its own wick. I also asked, if you don't promote NFT, who will? Banks? We all know the answer. Crypto is the enemy of banks, investment houses, most corporations, and almost all governments. For some visual artists and musicians, NFT will never become part of their style or strategy, and that is absolutely fine. NFT is a complex and volatile market, and if you don't really feel it, you shouldn't be in it. Influencers who claim that NFT is for everyone, it's like saying that you should only read an ebook and never a hardcover, or that you can only listen to classical music and not rap or trance. I mean, who is to say what we choose to do or what we want? In the free world, in the Web3 world, our individual freedom is not only our choice, it's our grail, and it's also a very large part of what defines Western culture. When you change art within a culture, you also change the perception of the culture. It's designed to globalize art and to remove country borders. Now, is that what you had in mind as an artist? Because you can't escape this critical element. It's easier for everyone in Q2 22 to now see that intent as an artist depends on where you live and which art market you target. An artist in America wants something much different than an artist in China. NFT is designed to instill equality, in part by eradicating political bias. Ideologically, equality through NFT is a great theory, but without an effective way of managing greed, it's just an idea without application. The main point is that unbalanced power is not supposed to happen in Web3, but here we are, not even out of the gate, and foiled again. So here's an NFT overview with a backstory that'll help you understand your place in the NFT ecosystem. First, you have to stop comparing the old contemporary art world to NFT. NFT isn't designed to fix the old system. It's designed to disrupt and eradicate it and to start from scratch. NFT is designed to work exclusively in the Metaverse and not in the real world. If you want NFT to work in the real world, you have to design your own custom version. The real world and the Metaverse have very few common touch points. Thankfully, though, during the transition between Web 2 and 3, there are a few places to make connections and to cross over. These crossover points, though, won't last forever, just until the Metaverse is strong enough to stand on its own, which is still probably quite a few years away based on today's adoption and rate of growth. In early 2022, the Metaverse is still too primitive to be a tangible revenue model for most art, music, or gaming projects. Here's where the Metaverse needs to be before NFT becomes an effective tool, respective of the intent of which it was originally and specifically designed. In other words, NFT started here, ended up here, and now we have to bring it back. Because it's obvious it's out of control the way it's going. And a lot of people are getting hurt. So let's start with avatars and why PFPs are so important to the NFT structure. With a PFP, you can be any gender, race, height, weight, or personality you choose. And in a world of inequality, you can make it look like you fit in to whatever crowd you aspire to be accepted. That's what this whole PFP thing is about. Fitting into a community. But first, you have to build the community. PFPs are the cornerstone to why NFT works. They define a new identity that allows the owner to escape reality. PFPs were specifically envisioned for a VR headset, and that's where the value still lies. Nothing has changed. The disconnect occurs when an artist or a musician thinks that NFT should be something it's not. If you don't understand the dynamic here, you're going to have a very hard time leveraging NFT in a space that it was never meant to live in. Unfortunately, VR is desperately trying to catch up to the NFT rush that was boosted by the pandemic. The tech world wasn't ready, but they did recognize the opportunity when it sprung up. VR companies are now feverishly designing gloves, bodysuits, walking platforms, all this gear that fully embeds a viewer in an NFT ecosystem that endeavors to duplicate everything they see and feel in the real world. This is a huge challenge. NFT jumped the gun before the virtual reality systems creators were ready to implement the entire structure. The goal initially was to reduce the cost of entry, but it'll take years to get to this breakpoint, if ever. If you can't afford the cost of admission, then VR ironically becomes a new source of frustration instead of a solution. I mean, I'm sounding very negative here, but I actually do support the metaverse. I just want you to understand that one-to-one art and the metaverse don't naturally go together. There is a method to bring it together. I've been working with a team of people to help define it, and other groups have too. In the metaverse, if you can afford it, you can buy gloves that allow you to feel objects, or a whole bodysuit that would allow you to feel gentle rain, or the experience of rafting on a raging river, or hiking in the mountains, or even just walking down Fifth Avenue in New York City. Some people get to experience these events in real life. So for them, the VR event is more like a fun distraction. It takes us out of our reality into a fake virtual world. If you're an artist, you have to think clearly and deeply about whether you want the metaverse to represent the way people experience life and your art. It's all part of the entire equation. It has to go this route in order for it to generate enough revenue to be profitable for the platforms and for the artists. So, as you can now see, Metaverse NFT is not for everyone, and for a very wide variety of reasons. Don't lose faith though, because one-to-one visual art and music NFT in a hybrid environment that you design and create might be closer to what you originally envisioned NFT to be. Be careful, though, about the route you choose, because there is zero doubt that in the relatively near future, all PFPs will be attached to full walking bodies designed by you and owned by you. They'll be wearing items and clothing just like in the real world. Some will wear Timex, others Rolex, and they'll be priced accordingly, which means everyone in the community will know how you roll. And we can easily see now that the Bored Ape Yacht Club is not for average incomes. Always keep in mind that wearables play a major role in NFT and the metaverse. It hasn't arrived yet, so you haven't been able to experience it, but it's coming. It's very close. As an artist, you can get away with rejecting the metaverse for now, but in time, how you choose virtual reality over the real world will have considerable impact on your career. Some advanced collectors won't collect from artists who float in both spaces, and they won't care at all what you think. If they want a pure play native NFT artist, there is little you'll be able to do to convince them otherwise. It's their collection and their prerogative. A thinking NFT art collector with long-term plans will want to know that the NFT they purchase isn't floating around aimlessly, and instead that it does have a place in the metaverse. Maybe not today, but there's a future for it. The challenge today is that we're in a transition between Web 2 and 3. The solution is to keep doing what you're doing in Web 2 with an eye and energy diverted to Web 3. Don't make this giant leap into a space that still isn't there. For all its intents and purposes, the metaverse, Web 3, DAOs, they're still ideologies. They aren't locked solidly in place. So if you invest a lot of time and money building something, and then it radically changes within a month or two, or 5 months, like we've just seen recently between December of 21 and May of 22, that's a lot of work that you'll be wasting. So always keep this in mind as you're building. You're building for something in the future that we don't yet know quite what it is. I hope it's becoming obvious by now that you have to choose carefully how NFT will work for you, and not confuse your art collectors respective of your long-term vision. They're looking at you, what you've done in the past, and trying to envision where you're going. So if you're sending mixed messages, you're jumping all over the place, or you're not making really well thought out decisions, that's going to impact whether or not they have trust in you and faith to purchase your products. Feel confident and comfortable that there is a place for your style of NFT. But the rules are much different for NFT fine art than they are for icon cartoons in the metaverse. It's important that you understand the difference. And here's where it gets tricky, really tricky. Fine art can hang in the metaverse, and we can have live performances and concerts in the metaverse, but we're still far from making it an enjoyable, seamless, and lucrative experience. And we need all three of those elements in order for music fans and art collectors to become involved. As an artist, you work hard at building in the metaverse and playing in the metaverse because you see the potential. But most art collectors and musicians and music lovers don't. Real life galleries and music events aren't going away. I mean, if you believe somehow that the club experience and the arena experience and the stadium experience and the gallery experience is just going to disappear because somebody came up with an NFT, you're listening to the wrong people. You have to have some gravity of thought and responsibility for yourself and for our industry. The cool thing about this is that art galleries, curators, gallerists, people who promote live music, and artists who perform live shows, they're all adapting and working towards some type of hybrid model. The smart ones aren't taking it at face value. They're creating their own version of what they think NFT should be. And honestly, I've seen what some of them are doing it, and I like it way better than what I've seen coming from the blockchain gang. I like the reality of where artists think it should be. I like the fact that they know what their collectors want and they know what their fans want. They're technologists. You're an artist. You have to force them to see your perspective. And they're not going to do it easily, but they will do it. They want this to succeed too, as much as you do. Your job as an artist is to figure out how you can leverage the energy from both worlds to elevate your visibility, boost your credibility, and enhance your career. That's your job. And there's a lot of people that are fighting you. So you need to get in the game smart. You need to be intelligent. Respect yourself. Respect your art. And don't let people push and pull you all over the place. Now, we've seen the results over the last 5 months, and it is brutal. The whole point of being an artist is to be creative and to come up with new ways to use old tools or new ways to use new tools. The transition to Web3 could take years, but you need success now. You need it today. You want to get rid of the part-time job or the full-time job or the two part-time jobs. Your goal should be to create art 24/7, full-time, so your head is always in that game. So, are there NFT strategies that work today? Well, of course there are, but they aren't as easy to identify and execute as easily as some of the developers and influencers have led you to believe. Promotion is still the number one challenge. You can all see that now. In the beginning, a year and a half ago, when the NFT scene first started to develop, everyone thought all they had to do was show up, throw their great art out there, and they become rich overnight. Well, you can see that doesn't work like that for one simple reason. There are 10 billion artists and only 1 million collectors. Artists collecting other artists' art, it's all right, but it doesn't really work. Promotion is still the holy grail. If you don't know how to promote yourself, you're going to have a very, very hard time in this incredibly saturated market. If a collector can't see you, they can't buy you. And in this oversaturated market that will only get worse as time goes on, it's incredibly hard to stand out. I'm not telling you anything new here. A major challenge in this respect is that it is completely unnatural for an artist to promote themselves. I've seen what you're doing out there, and it's brutal. It's embarrassing in some cases. And in fact, many artists make it worse than if they said nothing. You're experimenting with your life and with your career. It's hard as an artist to promote yourself. It doesn't feel right. It feels embarrassing. It's uncomfortable and difficult, and it takes a lot of skill to do without it looking like narcissistic boasting. And that's what most of it looks like right now. Many artists spend tens of thousands of dollars learning to promote themselves. So think about that. That's your competition. You know, I cringe every time I see an artist stumble under the weight of bad promotion. It's painful to watch. And if it's painful for me, and if you as an artist think it's painful, I can guarantee you the collector thinks it's painful, and it makes you look weak. And there is a real reason why music agents and art galleries exist. Sure, we don't like everything they do, but you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Here's another secret. A third party is always more believable because the perception by the viewer is that a third party is impartial. I agree that it's a wrong inference because anyone can lie. But it's a psychological reality that all sales experts understand and leverage. I've given many workshops and one-on-one training sessions about how to promote yourself effectively. But the reality is that it's hard work, and most artists don't want to do it or simply don't have the time. And many, way too many, think they can skip this very first important step. So here it is, step number 1. Never approach a prospect cold or directly about buying your project. Ideally, ask someone who has credibility to introduce you so you can make your pitch. If you can't find someone to introduce you to a potential buyer, your next best strategy is to follow your prospect on social media for a few weeks, or maybe months, until you have a good sense of their personality. Learn who they are. Learn about their interests, their companies, their families. It is hard because so many people are anonymous, but if you do proper research, it's amazing what you'll be able to find, maybe through some of your other connections or through your community. Once you do understand their likes and dislikes, look for common ground beyond your art. Find anything outside of art that has their attention and watch for ways to work yourself into a conversation that they're already having with others. Move into their world, but do it gently, quietly, and very carefully. This is how agents do it, and it's how gallery owners do it, and gallerists. You might have to wait for a very long time before you reach out and make a comment. The goal is to make a comment that your prospect will feel compelled to respond to. And when they do, you start a casual conversation about that specific topic and not about your art or even that you're an artist. You might have to have these casual conversations in comment sections many times. Your end goal is to work yourself into a conversation about you and about your art. And this takes a lot of discipline. You'll also have to follow several prospects simultaneously. It's why artists pay or partner with an agent or a gallery. Bottom line is someone has to do it. I've recommended for several months that cross-platform collaboration is the way forward. And that means don't collaborate with another artist who does something similar to what you do. Collaborate with somebody cross-platform. If you're a visual artist, collaborate with a musician or with a film director. Find someone outside your scope. A lot of visual artists and musicians have a hard time understanding that collaboration really means partnering with others who have expertise that you need. Now, I strongly suggest that you partner, but if you do have the economic resources, you can also hire a third party outright. It's a new era. Do what works for you. I really appreciate that you've hung out this long, so I'm going to wrap it up. Always put yourself in the position of a prospect and envision how you would feel if you were surprised with a sales pitch. Keep in mind that this is just step one of many other possibilities to raise your visibility and credibility. If you're frustrated by NFT opportunities slipping by, don't hesitate to reach out to me for help. Our team has years of experience in blockchain, NFT, and the traditional art and music worlds. Your whole goal is to blend everything you know with everything that is new or about to become new. And it's challenging. It's very complex and hard to get your head around. NFT is not easy, and it's not something you can do alone. There are great opportunities in NFT, but you have to be smart. You have to think about where you are, where you're going, and the type of resources you have. It's not free. None of this is ever going to be free. You have to, if you believe in yourself, then you have to invest in yourself. There's no other way around it. Many of the visual artists and musicians that you've seen who have already had success have had it because they have had a plan. They have experience. They've probably been in the industry for at least 10 years. They have their style down. They know how to market and promote themselves. And they have finances. You just have to look in places that other people aren't looking. Be courageous, be creative and artistic. Do things that other artists aren't doing. Don't necessarily believe everything that the tech community is telling you. Don't buy into this NFT game so easily. Make it work for you. There are no rules, which means you can be a pioneer and make your own rules. Be happy that you're working in this era. There are incredible NFT, Metaverse, DAO opportunities. There's so much to look at and consider out there. So stay positive, stay happy, whatever you do. Get up every morning and create a challenge for yourself that you can complete that day. Don't bite off these huge pieces that'll choke you. Just do it one step at a time. Have fun with it. Anyway, that is it for me. Thank you kindly. I'll see you in the next video. Please be well. Bye-bye.